Okay, up next we have Denny Hamlin. He drives the number 11 FedEx Ground Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. And Denny, just talk about coming into Charlotte, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Your outlook for race number 2 in the contender round, and what you think you need to be doing here. Obviously, you want to get to victory lane, but maybe just talk a little bit about your approach this weekend.
Well, obviously we had a good start, a decent start to this first race in this round, and obviously a lot of guys that have shown a lot of speed throughout the year have had some issues. So it's obviously a great opportunity for us to capitalize by continuing on that momentum. And really, the mile-and-a-half tracks have been some of our strong suits throughout the year. Even though we've been down on speed, we seem like we have raced better at these type of racetracks, and so I would expect nothing different this weekend, and hopefully we put ourselves in a position where we can go to Talladega and race with ease, to ease our minds, and really not have to go there and have to perform at a certain level to make it. You obviously want to go there and want to be aggressive and want to try to go win the race, but if you are ahead by just a few points, you're going to have to be defensive, and it could get dicey, obviously. So I think this race is going to set up how we are next week and how we're able to race.
Questions for Denny. We'll start right here. Tom has one, and then Reed, and then Claire.
Hey, Denny, Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. It's no secret that the Toyotas have been a little bit behind on speed this year. Do you find it bizarre that all three of you are in the top 7 in points, and the 4 guys on the outside looking in now are all from the 2 power teams this year?
Well, it's, you call it luck or call it whatever you may be. I mean, last week was just one of those weeks, and we've seen it really. Kansas has been that wild card type race in the chase for the last couple of years. I think if everybody was running at the end of that race, you still our 3 cars still are going to be a 6th to 10th place automobiles, I guess you could say. I mean, it's just that's kind of where we are on speed. But this way this format plays out, you have to be consistent. You have to have speed, in my opinion, those last 4 races to get into that last 4 for Homestead. This is still a consistency game right now, and that's what we're playing.
We'll go to Reed, Claire, and then Alan.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Denny, obviously you'd like to win Saturday night and punch your ticket. Don't have to worry about Talladega, but is there an extra incentive to win given the fact that you've got Brad, Jimmy, and Junior in a position where if you can keep them out of victory lane, then you can push them closer to elimination?
Yeah, and not only that, but I think this is the key weekend for that. All the speed in the world that all those teams have had over the course of this year means nothing when we go to Talladega. So it's, in my opinion, this is their shot to make up those points. Next week, you can't count on the speed of your car next week. It's just going to be about circumstances and driver putting themselves in the right spot not to get wrecked. And then after that, you got to find your way to victory lane. So I think this is the week that's going to really set the tone for next week. And obviously, Talladega is the final cutoff race. It's just, I mean, you thought it was going to be wild, but now with the way it's playing out, and especially those cars that had bad races last week, it's shaping up to be very epic. I don't think until the last lap you will not know until who's going to be in or out.
Claire, Alan, and then to Mike Neff.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Denny, can you talk about qualifying today? What do you expect in qualifying here at Charlotte? What are you thinking?
Probably another track record, if I would guess. I don't know if we still have it, but it's probably going to get broken if we do. Just fast speeds, and it seemed like the track was actually pretty decent, even though it was sunny out there today. Usually this track is one of the most temperature sensitive when it comes to that, but really the track was fairly clean, and I think it's going to be important because we all seen how important track position is, especially on these mile and a halves, pit road selection, getting on those timelines and things like that. So I think it's going to be a very important qualifying session. In the same token, to counter that, though, it's a 500-mile race, and you do have some time to make it up front and allow yourself with a lot of different strategies with this long of a race that we had this weekend. So I don't think it'll make or break you, but it definitely, you can set yourself up for a much easier race with a good qualifying spot today.
Let's go Alan, Mike, Neff, and then to Lee.
Alan Cavanna, NASCAR.com. Denny, you touched on it, but not that you want to revel in someone's bad finishes. But what is it like as a competitor when you see that Brad, Dale Jr., and Jimmy are in really bad position right now?
We've been in it. I mean, we were in it at New Hampshire. We had a great start to the chase, and that just shows you can't count on anything happening. You can't just rely on what's happened in the past. I mean, we went from sitting good in the points after the first race at Chicago to thinking, oh, okay, at New Hampshire we're running top 2 all day, right up until we had fueling it. We couldn't get the car full or couldn't get fuel in the car. So it was like, you go from sitting there thinking you're going to coast your way to the final race, the cutoff, to now having to race your way in. And like I say, I can't emphasize, though, how much different Talladega is going to be, because it has nothing to do with performance. It is nothing. The guys that have been running 35th to 40th all year have got just as good a chance to win that race as anyone. So that's why I think this has got to be probably a sense of urgency for the teams to make up those points this weekend versus next, because you just can't count on fast cars next weekend to make up those points.
We'll go to Mike, Lee, and then Dustin.
Mike Neff from frontstretch.com over here, Denny. You've obviously run pretty decent at the plate track so far this year, especially having the win at Talladega that got you into the chase. It's still a crapshoot down there, but does that at least give you some bit of confidence that you can get it done going to Talladega, knowing that you've been so good on the plate tracks this year?
I think that it'll so depend on where we're at. If we were having to make up points, I would drive it just like I've been driving all the super speedways this year. But honestly, if I'm only 10 to the good or 25 to the good, I probably won't be a threat. I'll probably be back there waiting on the wreck to happen, clear it, know that we can get in based off of the cars that are out of the race, and then try to get a win. But it's just it's going to be a different race for everyone. Everyone who has a different situation. My goal is leave here and have to finish 30th or better next weekend. That would make me feel pretty good about next week.
We'll go Lee, Dustin, and then Marty.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. How difficult is it, since drivers usually don't have a lot of patience, to throttle back, to just kind of, sit and wait, because it's not really in your demeanor not to be up on the wheel?
Well, with this system, you have to be smarter than that. You just can't go 100% all the time. When you see, immediately when I saw the issues from last weekend from the competitors, immediately I came on the radio, okay, this is a race we can't beat ourselves. No loose wheels, no pit road penalties. We can't put ourselves back there with those guys that have been really faster than us all year long, because when we get to these, Charlotte, they once again probably are going to have more speed. So we've got to optimize the day that we've got, and so I think you're really just playing the game. And this is a total different game than it is during the regular season. Regular season, you're racing 100% all the time, because once you've got a win, you can do that. Points don't matter. And if you don't have a win, you're racing for 100% because you're trying to get a win. So this is very, very exciting, and I love this format, and I think it's one of the best things NASCAR has ever done and come up with. But you are back to points racing with this type of format for 3 races at a time. It won't be when we get to those final 8, I believe. To get to the final 4, you're going to have to be 100% every single week. But with this many cars, 12 cars, you still can let the 4 bottom eliminate themselves through mistakes.
You don't anticipate a parade at Talladega like we've seen in the past, do you?
I don't think so, because I think you've got we know we have at least 30 cars with nothing to lose. So they're going to be going all out. And I think that really the fall Talladega race is always a little bit more exciting, simply because at that point of the season, people just don't care anymore. So they're just going for broke. So
Let's go with Dustin, Marty, and we'll end with Brant.
Dustin Long, MRN.com. Denny, you alluded to the ups and downs of this chase for you. What has it been like emotionally? How does it compare to other chases? Because other years, if you have a bad race, you're almost kind of out of it. Now you're back in it. What is this like? This bouncing, this yo-yoing of emotions week to week for the driver, for the team, and so forth? Because that's something different for this, isn't it?
it really is, and obviously this is not a 10-race chase anymore. It's a 3-race chase over and over. Honestly, from my perspective, and probably the guys that I'm around in points that have not shown the speed that some guys have, it's a blessing, because we have ourselves a great opportunity to move on and race for a championship, where the other guys are probably very frustrated with this because they've got multiple wins and have shown speed and things like that, and are behind us in points. So, I think that this is what NASCAR wanted. They wanted to reset it, and they wanted it to always be close. But when you do that, you just open the door up for, some of these teams that haven't shown strength to just get hot at the right moment and come up and almost steal a championship away. And it's possible. I mean, we're getting down, 6-7 races ago. It's like, we can hit on something very soon. I think we continue to close the gap on the field. I don't think we're as slow as we were months ago. I think we continue to get better and better, and it shows in our results if you look at them. So, we think we got a great opportunity ahead of us, and especially knowing personally what racetracks are ahead of me, that they continue to get better and better as far as my history at those racetracks. I'm pretty optimistic, and really I'm as optimistic now as I was in 2010 when we had the speed and were winning multiple races every other week. So it's no different, my mentality, especially this week. Now, had I had a bad week last week, it would have been frustrating for sure, but living in the moment right now, I'm just as confident about winning a championship as I was in 2010 when I was leading or something at this point.
We'll go to Marty, and we'll finish up with Brant James.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Denny, what's the hardest part of this?
Well, it's almost, this is such a team effort, and it goes team as in from the race shop to the pit crew to the road guys to the driver. It's for me, it's the things that I can't control. It's the fuel and the dash catching on fire last week, and it's like, what is this stuff? These are things that I can't control, and in a 3-race season like we have, you just can't have any mistakes. And so that's what's the toughest part about it, is that just hoping everything stays together for the entire race. I mean, that to me, that is my paranoia every time I get in the car.
Final question, Brant James.
Brant James, ESPN.com. Knowing that you have to worry about yourself and what you're trying to do in the chase, is it fair to say that it would be to your advantage if you guys could leave Jimmy and Brad and guys who've won it before, who have those resumes, behind in this round? It's fair to say that would enhance your chance to win this.
No question about it. Obviously, I don't count any of those guys out, because when you look at the guys that are out right now, they've all performed amazing at this racetrack, and they're going to be up front come Saturday night. But obviously, we would love to see them eliminated, because they are our biggest threats going forward. When you look at Homestead and what it's going to take to win that race, if you had to pick 4 cars in the field that you're going to have to beat to win that race, you would say that those 4 guys are part of your top 6 guys in the field that you're going to have to beat. So if they're eliminated, you don't have to beat them. So it's definitely the road to the championship gets much easier when those type of guys are eliminated early.
Denny, thank you for coming in, and good luck this
All
weekend.
right, thanks.